going to be watching Perfectly Replicating Coca Cola. It took me a year. I drink Coke Zero like crazy. I actually think it's the best zero-calorie beverage of all time. It's even better than regular Coke. So I'm hoping to see if he can make improvements to the OG. Let's check it out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to LabCoatz.
Hi!
Did you know Coca-Cola is the world's most popular non-alcoholic beverage?
Really? Over tea? Aren't there like British people?
It's a little tidbit I picked up as I studied literally every aspect of this drink for almost a year at the cost of my own sanity, but I digress. Point is, Coca-Cola is kind of a big deal. Practically every human being on the planet knows what it is.
Yeah.
And yet, despite existing for almost 140 years, only a handful of people actually know what it's made of.
I actually don't know. And I think I'm too scared to ask. Is he gonna put Coke in it?
As a matter of fact, the Coca-Cola secret formula is one of the most tightly guarded trade secrets to ever exist.
More than KFC? And the 7 spices or whatever?
With protective measures so extreme that they're almost laughable.
They have a vault? Oh my god. If the apocalypse happens, put me in there.
Seriously, they have a giant steel vault that they show off on guided tours. Does that not sound like something straight out of SpongeBob? And if that wasn't enough, the ingredients are all shipped unlabeled and from entirely different facilities, or kept almost entirely in the dark about what they're making. So much effort, all for a soft drink that the...
Do you think Santa knows what's in Coca-Cola? I mean, he's like their #1 marketer. Like, he definitely has to know.
company half-heartedly
he knows when you're sleeping.
with horribly out-of-touch AI commercials.
Oh, yeah! Dude, there's like so many companies that are buying like huge AI spots. Was one of them Disney or did I make that up? Like, they're paying like bajillions of dollars to AI companies.
Wouldn't it be funny if somebody managed to steal the secret formula right from under their noses, piece together a chemically identical beverage with the exact same flavor, and then tell absolutely everyone on the internet how to make it themselves? To most sane people...
Ew! That is Galveston Beach. I know I always say that when I see a disgusting liquid, but that is Galveston Beach.
This probably sounds like a fool's errand. After all, many have attempted the quest and invariably came up short. Trust me, I tried all their formulations, none of them tasted like real Coke.
I don't even think like the soda stream tastes like real Coke. I'm just not really a soda stream enjoyer. I would rather just drink it from the can. And I'm gonna be honest, I know drinking from the can is like diabolical, disgusting work because my mom always told me growing up that like rats like poo-poo, pee-pee, caca all over top of the Coke cans, but I don't care.
So, is this even possible? Well, in theory, yes. One article from 2016 theorized that the recipe could be deciphered with the help of mass spectrometry, although the author basically concluded that only a major group like Pfizer would have the time and resources to actually do so.
Damn!
Guess this was before science YouTubers got serious, cause I actually have 2 YouTube friends with 2 different kinds of mass spectrometers.
Whoa! Where can I buy a mass spectrometer? Does anybody know? I kind of want one. What can I do in there?
And one even happens to be a college professor.
Whoa!
Yeah, we're coming for you, Coca-Cola.
Oh, but Zach, Coca-Cola uses coca leaves. You can't possibly hope to replicate it without...
Have you heard of chemicals? I'm aware that whatever I make won't be absolutely identical down to the trace contaminants. But if I add all the major flavoring agents that are detected in real Coca-Cola, I should get something that tastes like Coke, regardless of if it came from a coca plant. And spoiler alert...
Dude.
Yeah, I can't even tell. Even though I know already, I can't even tell.
Whoa! Wait, he actually did it? Dude, he could be a competitor. He should start adding like crazy flavors in there. Like he should bring back the vanilla, the holiday vanilla creamy. That shit was so good. It sold out so fast in my Publix.
I wasn't expecting it to taste so much like Coke. Oh my god.
This approach actually works pretty freaking well. And in regards to legality...
You think they have Coca-Cola assassins? Do you think they would just send him out? But what if he said it was like a parody on Coca-Cola? But like there's Pepsi and there's like Dr. Pibb and stuff like that. Like you're allowed to have like a spin-off, right? There's no way you can't have your own Coke.
Well, Coca-Cola hasn't actually patented their recipe.
What?
Seriously.
How?
Doing so would require them to expose what they're actually patenting.
Oh! Oh, so this like keeps it censored. Actually, that's kind of smart. I didn't even think about that. Dude, that's actually really smart. But then they're hoping that nobody can figure it out.
And that's obviously not something they want to do. Consequently, unless I try marketing my own product under the Coca Cola name, there's really nothing they can do about it. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get cooking.
Yes, let's cook!
Now, believe it or not, we already know over 99% of Coca Cola's makeup, at least by weight.
Okay.
A liter of Coke contains roughly 110 grams of sugar.
Oh, that's sugar? I thought that was going to be booger sugar.
96 milligrams of caffeine, and 0.64 grams of phosphoric acid.
You guys can buy caffeine just straight up like that? Whenever I was a kid, I used to have this magic set that my parents bought for me to do a magic show, and I remember it came with like a packet of citric acid, and I would just go into my closet, turn off the lights, lock the door, and then I would just start eating it. Maybe it's good if I don't get a bottle of caffeine.
Based on pH measurements and other scientific analysis. It also contains caramel color, which contributes important flavor compounds like furfural, in addition to the cola's rich brown hue. What we don't know is what makes up the last ingredient. Natural flavors. This is where the real battle begins. As of 2025, only one of the natural flavors can be definitively verified.
Cinnamon.
Decoconized coca leaf extract.
Oh.
The Stepan Company in New Jersey is one of the only American companies licensed to work with coca leaves. And guess who they sell the extract to once the cocaine is removed?
Dude! So everybody else is screwed. They probably have so many deals with them that you would never be able to purchase it. They're probably never, ever, ever gonna sell that to another company. There's no way.
Cola nut extract was also used at one point, but it was phased out in favor of refined caffeine. I tried finding my own source of cocaine-free coca extract, but companies like Power Leaves never returned my emails, and the package I bought from this definitely not sketchy Peruvian website got seized at the border. So basically I was at square.
They seized it at the border. My God, Coke has ops everywhere.
One, like every other non-Coca-Cola entity, which meant I had to work up the entire flavor profile from scratch. At first, I thought this might be fairly easy. I mean, several cola recipes are already published, including the original Pemberton Coca-Cola from 1886.
Wow.
So I figured it'd simply be a matter of tweaking these until I got something that fit.
Should we try to make this on stream? Or do you think the assassins are watching everything I do? And they're just gonna like shoot me through the window?
Long story short, I was very, very wrong.
Ew!
As a starting point, most recipes call for the following set of flavors. Orange, lemon, lime, coriander, nutmeg, cinnamon, vanilla, and neroli. A few other ingredients that get suggested include black pepper, lavender, clove, and kaffir lime leaf. So I bought all these flavors as essential oils from reputable vendors.
Where's the Coke?
Using essential oils in food might sound a bit strange, but rest assured this is fairly standard practice in the food and beverage industry.
I didn't know they used essential oils. Actually, I do sometimes, but not for like my body or anything. I always put them inside of like a humidifier and they go, ah. And then I get like a facial from like eucalyptus leaves.
As it allows for very precise and repeatable combination of flavors.
Dude, whoever said nutmeg in chat, nutmeg is in so much stuff that you would never think. And then it's also like a little special ingredient where you take it away and you can totally tell it's not there anymore. It's like nutmeg is the guy who does the project all by himself, and then you show up and you just help present. But you had no idea that he was like actually pulling all the strings. Vivi, thank you! They actually stopped using cocoa leaves in 1903? Really?
To run my early trials, I would measure precise volumes of each oil using a micropipette and combine them in a small vial.
Okay.
Once mixed, the required amount of flavor oil would be dissolved in roughly 1 milliliter of food-grade alcohol, which helps it disperse into the soda instead of clumping into droplets. This was an issue I faced when I made root beer from sassafras oil a few years ago.
I love root beer, but one time I had somebody tell me that root beer tastes like how urinal cakes smell. And now I just always think I'm drinking out the toilet, but it's so good.
And the ethanol practically eliminates it without throwing off the flavor. Finally, the flavor mixture will be measured and added to a predetermined volume of soda, which was made with the established proportions of acid, caffeine, caramel color, and sugar. Pretty straightforward. Initially, I attempted to use something called an orthogonal array to perform my analysis. Nighthawk and Light has an excellent video explaining how these work, which I highly recommend you check out. But basically, an orthogonal or Taguchi array is a type of mathematical
Taguchi.
table that allows you to find meaningful correlations with a relatively small number of trials.
Oh.
In my case, I was hoping to determine which flavors contributed the most to the flavor of cola. Unfortunately, the human mouth perceives flavor mixtures in really complicated ways, so my results were highly inconclusive and often disgusting. That said, I did actually learn a lot by doing this.
Really?
In terms of flavors, nutmeg, cinnamon, and coriander seem to contribute the most to the iconic cola flavor,
Ooh.
but not without a strong citrus base composed of lemon and lime.
Yeah, they need to work
At the
together.
same time, flavors like neroli and lavender just didn't seem to work in the modern profile.
What is neroli? I don't know if I've ever experienced neroli before. Maybe it's like, earthy? Is it like soil? I'm gonna look it up. Neroli. It brought up all of India. I don't think that's right.
They added a strong, floral note that isn't found in today's Coke, and also made it taste like artificial sweeteners were being used. And despite showing up in most recipes, orange didn't really seem to fit either.
I
At
don't
least not in
think
the large amounts
so.
that are usually suggested. 1 to 2% ended up being the sweet spot, and while modestly important to the flavor, higher amounts would begin to throw off the citrus notes.
Maybe, like, what really contributes with the orange is, like, the peel, like the skin. Like, there's something kind of earthy in Coke, and I feel like the skin could help with that. Bobo, thank you! It costs $26 for a fluid ounce of neroli oil. It's 130 times more expensive than cooking. What? Dude, there's something else that's actually kind of expensive. What's that one red spice? Saffron? That shit's also so expensive, but I think saffron goes through like a crazy production process, which kind of validates why it's so expensive.
Of the other flavors I tested, Kaffir lime leaf was by far the most out of place, since it basically tasted like citronella.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't attribute lime to classic Coke, but I think there is like lime Coke, or there's people who put lime in Diet Coke, and there's also people who put peanuts in Coke. I've never had peanut Coke, but I would try it.
Clove was similarly overbearing and noticeably different from the spices found in Coke, while black pepper and vanilla contrastingly seemed to do very little.
Yeah.
I mean, if I really boosted the vanilla, it was detectable and the perceived sweetness would go up, but black pepper mostly just seemed to accentuate the more earthy flavors already found in nutmeg. Now, while I did gather at least a rough idea of what's in Coca-Cola from these early trials, I still had no idea what the correct ratios were, or what ingredients I was missing.
I don't know.
So to find out, I cracked out my
So to find out. You don't say.
secret weapons, scientific papers, and chemical analysis. In terms of analysis, Vince from Neptunium and Ben from Aspect Everything agreed to analyze Coca-Cola, my ingredients, and a few similar sodas like Pepsi using their mass spectrometers. These machines essentially take a tiny sample of whatever you want, split it into chemical fractions using either a liquid or gas chromatography column, and then analyze each fraction by ionizing and firing its components through a magnetic field.
Sometimes this stuff is wild to me. Like, I was just thinking about this the other day because I think I read a comment about it. But, like, think of old phones. Like, don't they have, like, little things inside of them that go, like, da-da-da-da on the landline, and they, like, vibrate, and then it sends, like, a robo voice of you talking through vibrations and a little pin inside of a thing? Like, that's crazy to think about. Technology is nuts.
Much like a prism splitting up light, the magnetic field splits up ions based on their mass, giving a sort of fingerprint that can be used to identify what chemical was ionized.
Whoa!
That's the explanation. And this is the exact chemical makeup of Coca-Cola.
Whoa!
Let's dissect its secrets.
Write that
shall we?
down! Basically, this tells you what ingredients are inside with their electric charges and the weights of each to the correct ratio. Oh! Does Coca-Cola not want you to know this? Oh, God!
The dominant peak we found was
Guys, watch this video before it gets taken down. It's been up for 2 weeks. We know what happened if it's gone in a month.
something called alpha-terpineol, which mostly arises from the acid-catalyzed hydrolysis of limonene and pinene, and it hints that citrus oils do in fact make up a large portion of Coke's flavor. The next major peak is actually the remaining limonene, followed by 4-terpineol and fenchol.
Whoa.
Cinnamaldehyde, saponine, and carine were also detected,
Cinnamaldehyde?
indicating the presence of cinnamon and nutmeg. And finally,
I
we found
don't know,
eucalyptol,
cinnamon.
borneol, furfural from the caramel color,
Meth! There's meth in Coke!
Is that why I'm addicted?
Oh, it's all coming together!
and ethyl levolinate. Levolinic acid and its esters form when sugars like fructose are heated under acidic conditions, which suggests the Coca-Cola undergoes heating at some point during its production.
I mean, I guess I would assume that it gets heated, right? Because if you don't heat sugar, it just kind of like it's nasty and gritty. Like, even whenever we used to make tea at the steakhouse I worked at, we always had to have like hot water. Then you like mix the sugar into the hot water and then it like all gets mixed up together.
Now, this is all well and good, but unfortunately, we couldn't pin down the exact concentration of each component using this data.
Oh, thank you so much, Devil. I hope you had a good stream. Hi, everybody. We're looking at how Coca-Cola's made.
You see, a mass spectrometer's output couldn't pin down the exact concentration of each component using this data. You see, a mass spectrometer's output is given as a plot of relative intensity, not concentration.
Whoa. Okay.
If you want concentration, you usually have to do a lot of math and other testing to figure out how different chemicals interact with the machine.
Or Adderall.
So, instead of relying purely on the mass spectrometry data we collected, I chose to also lean on the data from this article in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry. This table in particular listed pretty much every flavor found in Coca-Cola, and even gave their measured concentrations.
Whoa!
There were a few flavors they left out, such as fenchel, but I figured once the concentrations of other ingredients were determined, these secondary flavors would be easy to dial in with the help of mass spectrometry.
Dude, is Coke paying hush money to have it ignored? Do you think a company can be so powerful that they don't list ingredients because they can just pay people to not let it happen? Could you do that? Could you be like, you know what? I'll slide you $1 million if you just don't put that on there. Holy! Do you ever think that there's so much we don't know? Like, there's just so much, like, company yap in the background, CEOs bickering. There's probably at least 900 people who died trying to get this.
I won't be going through every chemical on this list, but there are a few I'd like to point out that reveal important information about the secret formula. Obviously, cinnamaldehyde and vanillin can be directly correlated with cinnamon and vanilla,
Yeah.
so we can check those off as part of Coke's recipe. Limonene and alpha-terpineol are also
Lemon?
present, along with aldehydes like octanol, nonanol, and decanol, which collectively signal the strong presence of citrus oils.
Huh.
This is all stuff we mostly knew. Things get interesting, though,
Ooh,
with
here we go.
linalool and the various forms of eugenol.
Linalool sounds like a Pokemon.
Eugenol and its esters make up 80 to 90% of clove oil, which is one of the suggested ingredients that people reference from time to time. However, the concentrations found in Coke are only enough to account for the traces contributed by nutmeg and cinnamon oils,
Okay.
which are much more definitive ingredients. And since clove oil threw off the flavor in my early tests, I think it's fairly safe to rule it out as a potential flavor.
Get out of here!
Sticking with ingredients we already discussed, linalool also rules out a few potential flavors. To explain how, though, we need to talk about enantiomers.
Okay.
Basically, for a molecule like linalool, two mirrored versions exist.
Whoa,
R and S.
doppelganger!
You can flip them around all you want, but no orientation will make them identical. Interestingly, the R enantiomer of linalool makes up the majority of both lavender and neroli oils, while the S enantiomer makes up the majority of coriander oil.
Oh.
And, according to the study, Coca-Cola contains mostly S-linalool.
So, like, what do they do to the scientists? Okay, that sounded wild, but, like, how do they make sure the scientists don't yap and don't tell anybody what's going on? Like, if you work at Coke, you probably sign, like, crazy NDAs, right? They jork them off. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Money? They hold their families hostage? Threats of lawsuit? Oh my God, I would not want to be a Coca-Cola scientist. Like, your life is on the line. Have you ever tried to make Coca-Cola with your life on the line?
The amount of R-linalool only being enough to cover what would come from the citrus oils. Some might argue that chemicals like neral and nerol signify the presence of neroli, but this simply isn't the case. These compounds are found in citrus oils just like linalool, meaning we can pretty definitively say neroli and lavender are not ingredients in Coke.
I mean, to be fair, I think lavender is so overpowering. There's like a time and a place, because as soon as you taste lavender, the entire dish or drink just starts to taste like flour. It's like very, very strong, like perfumey.
The last chemical I'm going to bring up is acetic acid. To me, this one was kind of a shock, especially with it being the third most prominent flavor by mass. My first thought was that it was simply arising from the acid-catalyzed breakdown of acetate esters in the cola. But after talking with Darcy over on the Art of Drink channel, and seeing it in an actual recipe from the 1950s, I'm almost certain that's being added deliberately.
Huh.
To be clear, the amounts being used are in the range of parts per million. But I still find it kind of funny that vinegar is probably one of the secret ingredients.
Maybe.
With the major flavoring
kinda
compounds
got that
identified and correlated with existing ingredients, I set up an Excel spreadsheet to make iterating my recipes a bit easier.
Yeah, wait, what if there is just like a giant animal, like a slug, or maybe like a giant cow, and like they have to go and like
mixing
milk
calculator.
it, and then whenever they milk it, it lets the Coke out, and they don't tell anybody. Like they just have a monopoly on this guy's udders, and they're just milking him and milking him and milking him and milking him.
Would basically take the volume of each oil being added, determine how much of each component was present, and then compare that data with the Coca-Cola numbers. Once everything was matching, I would take the recipe, log it on a separate tab with notes about the soda it made, and finally rank how close it was to real Coke.
I love numbers!
Unfortunately, while most of the flavor compounds could be easily connected to at least one of the essential oils, there were a few that just weren't showing up on the mass spectrum. Specifically, fenchol
That looks like a dog. Arf.
and forterpineol.
That's why it's fenchel. It's like Fenrir. Write that down if you're in like a science class. I got you.
Originally, alpha-terpineol was also on this list, but after modifying my soda preparation to include heating, there was more than enough of it to go around.
Nice.
For the fenchol, I simply resorted to buying the raw chemical.
Piss.
But for forterpineol, I started down a completely new rabbit hole. You see, the taste of Coca-Cola can be divided into a few main groups. The two we've tackled so far, and the two most people stop at, are citrus and brown spices, along with less pronounced subgroups like caramel and vanilla.
I would think it kind of has like a brown sugar taste to it, like kind of like molassesy. I would have guessed brown sugar, but obviously I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a scientist. I'm just an octopus.
What most people tend to overlook are the more green, fresh flavors that seem to come from the coca leaf.
Pine? I mean, I guess there's like a little pine, right? Like it's a little grassy. Cooling, there's definitely a cooling aspect to it. I don't know where that, I guess that would be from the coca leaf, right? And then herbal. Yeah, I can taste the pine. Dude, I feel like I'm one of those, what are they called? Sommeliers, but for like Coca-Cola. Yeah, piney.
Without these flavors, you tend to end up with a more spice-centered drink like Pepsi.
Pepsi tastes like plastic to me. I don't know what it is. Like, I like Pepsi. I'm not gonna like kid you or anything, but it's more aggressive. Like, it's more chemically to me for some reason. It's more like Shoryuken. Does that make sense?
So, for my source of forterpineol, I decided to go with an essential oil that I felt would reintroduce those missing flavors. Tea tree oil.
Oh, I use this all the time at home! But in a little, like, mister. Psa, psa, psa.
By mass, this stuff is close to 50% forterpineol, and most of the other chemicals it contains match up with those found in Coca-Cola, so it doesn't really mess up the mass spectrum. When I began using it, I noticed an immediate improvement in the flavor,
Whoa.
although it never fully replenished the missing freshness.
Aw.
Overall, it was more like drinking Diet Coke than
Don't drink Diet Coke. Just drink Coke Zero. Diet Coke is so bad. It is disgusting. When I drink a Diet Coke, when I drink Coke Zero, yeah.
regular Coke, and no amount of tweaking or adding essential oils seemed to change that. I spent months adjusting the recipe, testing new ingredients, and forcing family members to taste my experiments.
Tater tots!
Eventually, my original soda stream gave out, and I had to buy a second one.
Damn, look at that. We get the twin soda streams.
This is starting to become unreasonably expensive.
I tested cassia cinnamon versus cinnamon leaf, different versions of nutmeg and lime, heating and aging versus not, even adding trace flavors like isobutyl. Heck, I even tested completely random flavors to see if they'd fill in what was lacking. They never did.
Aw.
After a certain point, I was pretty close to throwing in the towel.
Then I went outside and I grabbed a bunch of dirt and I put it in there and it was delicious. It was like Coke boba, just slurping up rocks.
Maybe people were right to say that Coca-Cola is impossible to replicate without coca leaves. And then, the answer finally hit me. Coca leaf extract is essentially a type of tea, and teas contain tannins.
Oh,
These
wait, I thought that was in drugs. Is that for my smokas in chat? Is that not in drugs?
Tannins possess a dry, astringent taste that can help mask sweet flavors.
Oh! I was thinking of wine. Yeah, is tannins in wine is like whenever you stir it and it goes like up and down and then it gets like stuck and then like in your mouth you're like that's like the drop. You know what I'm trying to say? That's the tannins in wine. So I am a sommelier. I can start putting that on my resume.
And since they're non-volatile, they don't usually show up on gas-based mass spectrums, explaining how I missed them for so long. Best of all, they're sold in a purified state for winemaking, meaning I could quickly get a hold of a sample and test out my theory. And
Looks
it was
like
all
cocoa
worth
powder.
it. This is the mass spectrum of Coca Cola.
Whoa, we figured it out! Bubba, thank you! Tannins are doing the same thing in wine as in tea. It shares the same job. Think of the compounds and lead characters in a team comp. I didn't get it, but now I do. That makes sense. Tannins are like top lane. Like, you don't know that they're really doing a lot of work up there because, you know, you're in bot, you're farming, you're getting cannons. They're not ganking you. You don't give a shit. They're never using TP. But, like, they're doing something. They really are.
And this is the mass spectrum of one of my replicas. They're nearly identical.
Whoa!
And the flavor, well, what can I say? It tastes like Coke.
He
There
did
are
it!
tiny differences, of course, but honestly, this stuff is closer to classic Coke than Coke's own glass bottle or Diet Colas are. And infinitely closer than any
Whoa!
other replica. It definitely checks out as Coca-Cola, at least to me. We'll get to other people's reactions and opinions here in a minute. But first, let me show you exactly how it's made. Brief spoiler,
Write this
the
down.
startup cost for this recipe can be kinda high.
How much?
Unless you have a pre-existing stockpile of essential oils and accurate measuring equipment.
If I have the measuring equipment, we could do this. How about instead of test tubes, I just put all of the ingredients in my mouth, and instead of a centrifuge, I just go... And then I drink it.
Once you have everything though, you can easily produce a bulk flavor solution that will last for years and allow you to create servings of Coke for mere pennies.
Damn!
No more paying a company that won't even pay real animators. In
Oh,
terms of hardware,
burn!
we'll need a mass scale, an adjustable micropipette that can accurately dispense up to 1,000 microliters, a 50 milliliter graduated cylinder, some 1 liter storage bottles, and some kind of heat-resistant glassware for making the syrup.
I
Resist
think I
the
can do
temptation
this.
to use metal cookware, since phosphoric acid can attack it and dissolve less than healthy metals into the soda.
You've heard of microplastics. Have you heard of micrometals?
I got baby metal up in my Coke.
There is a reason soda cans have that plastic liner.
Oh.
Finally, you can also use a magnetic stirrer for mixing, as well as a 1 liter volumetric flask to make the dilution steps a bit easier. For ingredients, we have all the essential oils seen here: sugar, carbonated water, caffeine, caramel color, food grade alcohol.
Do you think there's any really big company that's like, now is my time to shine?
He literally wrote it out for you.
85% phosphoric acid, glycerin, wine tannins, 5% vinegar, vanilla extract, and fenchol.
Okay, this is also a really dumb question, but I'm just curious because I see like uncaffeinated Coke. Can you taste caffeine in a beverage? Like, does it add anything or does it just make you like go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? Does it have a flavor? Yes? I don't know if I've ever just tasted caffeine. It's like a little bitter, sometimes yes.
Quick note, fenchol melts just above room temperature, so you might need to warm it up in some hot water before beginning.
Me too.
I bought my sample on Amazon, and after testing it, I can confirm its flavor is present in Coke.
Nice!
So use it if you can.
Okay.
For caramel color, I used Shanks brand, but other varieties like Durkee should work just as well.
I would have just bought all those caramel cubes.
As long as they're composed of actual caramel color and not a mix of red and green food dyes. If you don't use Shanks though, try playing with the amounts you add to get the right color.
I mean, One Piece don't even use
Also,
Shanks,
keep
be
in
for
mind that
real.
we are working with chemicals here, including a few that are mildly hazardous. So, for your own safety, wear gloves, measure accurately, and don't taste any of the unmixed ingredients. The first step is to prepare what most people call the 7X flavoring, which is the mixture of essential oils and alcohol that make up the Coca-Cola secret formula. To be clear, what I'm about to share is not the Coca-Cola secret formula.
Okay.
Since I failed to
Legally
utilize
distinct.
decoconized coca leaf extract. Chemically
Oh. So do you think if he got the cocoa extract that he would be pretty much spot on? It's just because he can't get it? Like, it'd probably be really close. Hi, Trevor. Thank you for the follow. I think he just can't get it because they're gatekeeping it. Like, they're gatekeep girl bossing the cocoa, which is insane. Yes, probably close enough, I'd say. I think it'd be really close. I think he'd be really close.
though, it's about as close as you can get without it. And the real deal should be fairly similar. The recipe is 45.8 milliliters lemon, 36.5 milliliters lime, 1.2 milliliters orange, 8 milliliters tea tree, 4.5 milliliters cassia cinnamon,
Thank you, Goose. I appreciate it.
2 milliliters orange, 8 milliliters tea tree, 4.5 milliliters cassia cinnamon, 2.7 milliliters nutmeg, 0.7 milliliters coriander, and 0.6 milliliters fenchol.
Oh.
And optimally, you'd let this mixture age for a day or two before continuing. Art of Drink has an excellent video explaining why, and even the original Pemberton version of Coca-Cola includes this aging step.
I'm not waiting.
In the end, you'll be rewarded with about 100 milliliters of flavor oil, which is enough for over 5,000 liters of soda, or about as much as your mom drinks in a day.
Whoop! What my mom drinking? Why you bring my mama into this? She drinking piss?
To make the 7X solution, simply dilute 20 milliliters of the flavor oil to a volume of 1 liter using food-grade alcohol. And before anyone gets worried, the amount of alcohol being added to the final soda is 5 times less than what you get from a non-alcoholic beer, and
Wow.
far too little to taste or make this drink intoxicating.
Aww.
Other flavor extracts like vanilla or almond use ethanol as a solvent. This is no different. Still, if alcohol is an issue, you can emulsify the oil into water with the help of gum arabic. Check out
What?
Glenn and Friends Cooking
What's
to
that?
see how he does this with his cola.
Dude, I never had to buy a KitchenAid. I just needed a drill and a whisk. I got scammed? What the hell?
Anyway, next, we'll need to make a secondary water-based
Yeah, you're right. I think that setup is a little whiskey. You're stupid.
solution containing the other ingredients, aside from sugar and carbonated water. Into roughly 200 milliliters of hot water, measure out 10 milliliters of 5% vinegar, 9.65 grams of caffeine, 175 grams of glycerin,
That was
45
aloe.
milliliters of 85% phosphoric acid, 8 grams of wine tannins, 10 milliliters of vanilla extract, and 320 milliliters of Shank's caramel color.
Sludge.
In case you're wondering, the glycerin is being added for texture and mouthfeel. Without it, the drink tends to feel a bit thinner and more like diet soda. Also,
So when they made Crystal Pepsi, did they just like take out all the dye? Then it was just kind of like naked? Did it taste better? Does anybody know? Yeah, this is just science slop. Yep, they boiled it? Oh, I'm not old enough. Did you age me? It tasted pretty close to regular Pepsi. It tasted naked. Ask your mom. Shut up!
if using vanilla extract feels imprecise, you can alternatively mix up a solution containing 9.5 grams per liter of vanillin and use 1 milliliter of that. Given the fairly limited impact vanilla seems to have, though, you probably wouldn't notice a major difference. Give each ingredient time to fully incorporate before adding the next. And once everything is dissolved, dilute the mixture to a final volume of 1 liter using water.
Oh,
Now, let's make some Coca-Cola.
that is just sludge. I drink sludge and it makes me happy. I'm a sludgy, sludgy, sludgy woman. I'm probably 90% sludge. Oh my god.
For this demo, I'll be making 1 liter, just so scaling up or down is a bit easier. Into a glass dish, add 104 grams of sugar, and just enough water to dissolve everything. I know I said 110 grams of sugar per liter of soda at the beginning of the video, but here's the deal.
Okay.
That's for a mixture of fructose and glucose, like you find in corn syrup.
Oh.
If we
Dude, it is kind of crazy to think about. Death Stranding looking ass. When I was in Japan for that last month, the Coke tasted different. And I think it's because they don't use corn syrup or like the same mixture. Because it was sold as regular Coke, but it tasted like not as good. I think it's just because I'm so aggressively American that I'm very used to the chemicals.
add 110 grams of sucrose or cane sugar the phosphoric acid will cause it to react with the water and form nearly 116 grams of those simpler sugars. That would throw off the sweetness of the drink, so we use less sugar to compensate.
Okay.
Anyway, next we add our flavor solutions to the syrup. 10 milliliters of the water-based solution, and 1 milliliter of the alcohol-based 7X solution. You might need a few extra drops of the 7X solution, it really depends on your taste. As soon as everything is combined,
I want to be his friend so that way if there's like a, I don't know, an event like Christmas, he could just give me like a giant tub of extract.
microwave or otherwise heat the mixture until nearly boiling.
They have better food regulations in Japan. That's why you don't see as many people who are overweight there. I also think it's like a culture difference, just to be like 100% frank. Like, I think there's like a saying there where you should only eat until you're like 80% full. But in America, it's like, damn, if I paid for it, I'm gonna eat it all. And the portion sizes are huge. There, everything's like a lot smaller. And anytime I went to lunch, I had to like walk there. Or I had to walk to the train and take the train. It's a lot. It's honestly a lot more than just like what's in it. It really does feel like a cultural difference. How does one calculate 80% full? I would say 80% full is like when you feel like you're like, oh, that was all right. Like, that was good. I could eat more, but I probably shouldn't. Like, that's like 80% full.
And cover to prevent the more volatile flavors from escaping. Heating like this helps the phosphoric acid break down compounds like limonene and citral, and it also accelerates that sugar hydrolysis reaction we just talked about. So it's a fairly crucial step. Once fully cooled, dilute the syrup to a volume of 1 liter with cold carbonated water. This can either be bought or made yourself using a soda stream. Just don't attempt to carbonate the fully mixed soda on the machine. It tends to produce a lot of foam, which can lead to bacterial growth if you're not careful.
Wait, you can get bacteria inside of soda? I never thought about that. Wait, they could just be like swimming around in there.
Do I have bacteria inside me right now?
And this is our finished Coca Cola. You can drink it directly, but if you want the most accurate version of the final flavor, allow the soda to rest for a day or so in the fridge.
Oh.
And again,
Looks
while
like a
the flavor
crab.
is as close as I could get to Coke after a year of trying, and certainly closer than any other clone I've tasted, there is still room for perfection.
It
So
looks
if you have the
good.
ingredients, feel free to experiment. And for future reference, I'll have the most up-to-date version of the recipe in the video description.
Damn, he's gonna patch it! My god, he's the GOAT! He probably patches that more than Minecraft gets patches!
Of course, I could go on and on about how I think my cola tastes, but what do other people think? Is this a convincing replica?
That's not enough ice. I'm gonna be honest. I am like a total like ice abuser. I want at least like 80% ice on my drink.
Or just another Pemberton knockoff? Well, I set up several blind and non-blind taste tests, and people actually had trouble telling it apart from real Coke.
This is regular Coke. See, I can't even tell. Even though I know already, I can't even tell.
Do I crunch it? Oh yeah, every time. And there's like tiers of ice to me. Like the crunchy ice is the best. That's like Sonic ice. I think, what is it called? It's called like, it has a name. It's not crunchy ice. It's called, cause it has like air pockets in it. No, not crush, not slushy. I think it's called like nugget ice, something like that. It's so good.
9.5 out of 10. That's pretty good.
That tastes pretty close.
Whoa!
I may not be able to tell if these were side by side with the original taste.
Wow!
Definitely, you know, Coke or a Coke product. You know, if you said it was vanilla Coke.
Everybody
or
here
something
looks like
like
they
that,
were
I'd
at
be
my
like, yeah,
high
maybe
school
that's
lunch table.
definitely Coke.
This is more like, is more similar to this bottle than this is to that bottle, which is crazy to think about.
Wow. I've never had Sam's Cola. Is it good? I'm not really like a Sam's Club person. I already picked my side in the war. Like I'm a Costco hoe, but like, is Sam's good? I mean, they have pizza too. I'm not sure if the pizza at Sam's slaps. Maybe I should go to a bunch of different restaurants and pick up a bunch of different pizzas and bring them on stream, and then we eat a bunch of pizza all day. Then I don't have to eat for the rest of the week, and I can do like a meal prep, like be really healthy. You just get like a piece of pizza, put it in like a little container, and then put a lid on it and be like, oh, there you go.
That's a Coke product. I wasn't expecting it to taste so much like Coke. Oh my gosh, hold on, I gotta go again.
He gave him the Dixie cup.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, like if you sold this on the shelves, I'd buy it.
Wow.
Regular Coke drinkers were better picking mine out from the mix, But the general consensus was that Lab Cola could be mistaken for Coke, and
Nice.
not other colas like Pepsi. When tasted on its own, without Coca-Cola as a direct reference, people overwhelmingly thought it was the real deal.
Wow.
Unlike the Pemberton recipe, Open Cola, and other clones I had them try.
Yeah, that's not Coke.
No, that's not Coke. No, that's not even, like, it's a cola, but like that's not Coke. That is just straight flour.
It's very cinnamony to me. That's
Yeah.
like almost pure cinnamon.
I feel like the balance has to be right. Like, as soon as you add too much of one thing, it's just gonna be so overpowering because they all like play together but not against each other.
Like you know, like those little candies.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not Coke.
All right, I think that's finally it. 2025 is coming to a close, and it has been an insane year for this channel. Thanks to everyone's support, I was able to take on crazy projects
What's
like
that?
making fluorine gas at home, preparing
Whoa!
oleum piranha solution, and putting a 360 camera probe in front of a tornado.
What? I love
Stay tuned for that
science!
adventure. 2026 is shaping up
This
to
is a
be
cool channel.
another great year for LabCoatz, although there are a few changes on the way.
What?
If all goes well, I'll be graduating in May with my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering.
Holy shit, he has a job! I need to go back to school.
And moving to a new location where I'll be doing an internship and hopefully getting a full-time job.
What?
It's hard to say how many videos I'll be putting out at that time, but rest assured if there is like a little break in there, it's not going to be permanent, and I will be coming back. Regarding
Wow.
projects, I have several chemistry-themed ones planned out.
That's
including
cool.
making taurine for my own energy drink, and finally finishing my
Yeah, did Coke hire him? Yoink. Ours now.
super stenches by taking on tellurium. I also bought over $1,000 worth of capacitors to build a plasma gun.
What?
And for storm chasing, I got this high-speed drone to film tornadoes up close and personal.
Dude, there was one storm chaser I knew whenever I used to speedrun a lot. I think his name's like Blue Candy or something like that. It was whenever I was speedrunning Mario Golf on the GameCube. He was the world record holder, and like also his other passion was storm chasing. It was very cool.
Kind of like the Otis project, but cheaper. Now I just need a license.
Oh.
If you'd like to help support me and my channel, feel free to donate, join my Patreon, or become a channel member.
Wow,
Or
do
pick yourself
it!
up a sample of the Lab Cola flavor stuff.
I want
As
to.
always,
I will.
a big
I will.
Thanks goes out to all the existing LabCoatz Patreon supporters and channel members.
Aww.
Without them, I would not be able to afford projects like this. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. LabCoatz out.
That was such a cool video. I love watching the science videos. If you're new here, please check out the original. Remember to subscribe, like, let me know in the comment section down below if you were on Team Pepsi or on Team Coca-Cola. And if you would like to watch more science videos in the future, come by the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/BerryCrepe. I would super appreciate it. I hope you have a great evening. Goodbye, YouTube! Also use code Berry. Check out for tips after gamers. I'm sorry. Goodbye! That was a cool video.